I love Norway. I think about it every single day and I miss it every single day. Can't wait till I go back. Yeah, I really miss the food in Norway. It's not really known, like when you think of Norway, it's not like, oh, Norwegian food. Like it's not like the first thing you think of when you think of Norway. But for me, it was a lot of like comfort foods, a lot of what I ate in Norway, and that's what I grew up on. Meat with like potatoes and then vegetables. And that's a lot of what they eat. They eat a lot of potatoes, a lot of fish. My favorite thing in Norway was salmon. They have the best salmon in the entire world. Like I don't care who you think you are, but they have the best salmon ever since I came back to the US. Every time I eat salmon, I'm a little disappointed because it's just not as good. It really isn't. And it's probably in Norway that I learned to cook salmon the best because I had it like twice a week. Like I would just buy it at the grocery store almost every week because it was just so much more affordable because it's more available there. Something that I really liked is something called rislunch. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a rice pudding, kind of. And it comes in like a little cup, like you would imagine yogurt comes in, but it has like 2 little compartments and you pour like this jelly over like the rice pudding. And then it comes with like a little spoon that you can eat it with. And it was just like a really yummy snack that I would take on the trains when I was traveling. And then the bread, I really loved the bread in Norway. It was amazing. And when I got here, I was actually kind of sick because all the bread here just has so much sugar in it. Yeah, I still miss the bread in Norway. There are a lot of weird foods in Norway. I didn't really eat a ton of weird ones because I know there's some dishes that are really traditional that are like weird, like fermented fish or like lamb's head, but it's not as common. Like they don't eat it as much anymore, and so no one ever made those kinds of dishes for me. The weirdest food I ever had was someone from Ethiopia made me like a traditional meal and they ate with their hands, and I was like, oh, because in Norway, you almost never eat with your hands. You always use a fork and knife, like always. Even with a hamburger, I learned to eat a hamburger with a fork and knife. Like some people do just eat it like Americans because it's kind of influenced by American culture, the new foods and globalization. But they really do eat with fork and knife in Norway. So then I was taught like you hold your fork in your left hand, you hold your knife in your right hand, and then you hold the fork upside down and you scoop the food on. Yeah, it's just like a technique that you have to eat. So probably the weirdest thing was when I had to eat that Ethiopian food and they're like, no, you use your hands to eat this, and I was like, what? What do you mean? And then one other thing a Norwegian woman made for me, I love her so much. She made us this funny dessert that I had never had before, and she had taken cottage cheese, you know, the chocolate powder that you make chocolate milk with. She had put that in the cottage cheese, so she like flavored the cottage cheese to be chocolate, and then she put in like this fancy like goblet and then put like raspberries on top, and we were like, whoa, this is really inventive. So that honestly was like the weirdest thing a Norwegian ever gave me. I mean, I ate it was pretty good. No Norwegian made me like really weird food, even though it does exist there. I never tasted anything that was like really gross or anything. I liked all the food there. I don't think I ever had lamb before I went to Norway, but especially around Easter, they eat a lot of lamb. That was like one of my favorite meals that I had. Was a woman made us lamb like with our dinner, and it was like the yummiest meat I have ever had. It was super good. So I really love the lamb in Norway also. Not the head though. Didn't have that.